you have this thing you want to do,
Okay.
and you want to get better at it, but heard about a crazy technique some old man in the woods talked about called visualization.
Right.
Now, it kind of sounds a little hocus pocus-ish. Haven't used it.
Never used it. Yeah, it does sound like something hairy-fairy.
But why? So why do people use this whole visualization?
Oh, visualization can be used for so many different things. Get into that. But why it's powerful is that it uses a large part of the human brain. Actually, most animals have a large part of their brain that is devoted to their visual cortex. Right? It is the part of your brain that processes sight. But you can also, when you close your eyes, you can also still play with that part by making pictures. Right? So one of the most powerful things that you can do then when trying to set goals or whatnot is to play with that big piece of hardware, right? Because it is a very fast way to instill what you want into your brain. So for example, just to show the power of it, imagine a place that you have only been once, but you remember the place. Okay, I remember I was taking a tour through the headquarters for a large company. Never been there before, and they led me down a hallway, down a room into a nice big boardroom with windows all around it. I can still remember that, and I've only been there once. And if I was suddenly there again, I could find my way around that building, no problem. Well, that's your visual cortex in action. For you to remember layouts and whatnot.
So even if you're not a super visual person, visual cortex still pretty powerful because of just being a human?
Yeah.
Stuff we've been using for a while?
Yeah, it's a very, very powerful part of your brain. So now, how can you take that and use it to amp up your goals, to make your goal more compelling?
So maybe this is really important because we have a psyche or an unconscious that's doing stuff. And we can work with that or we can work against it. If I'm trying to get something done, but I've never been able to visualize getting it done, if I have no sense of urgency about it, if I don't know what the emotions are like doing it, I'm working against myself. I have a system that's designed for me to run around the jungle and for it to try to find things to remember, anchor stuff in my memory, in certain, like the memory castle.
Memory palace, yeah.
Palace, that Sherlock uses that.
Yes, yeah.
In the BBC version of the show. Those things work because of that visual cortex.
Yeah.
So when we're trying to find every edge we can in terms of accomplishing a goal, visualization both helps us know if you can't visualize it, maybe you haven't thought about it enough, maybe it's a bad goal, maybe it's a BS goal, and it can help us just amp up whatever we need to be amped up about to get it.
Yeah, because remember, when it comes to goals, the emotion is what drives us to get that goal done, right? As long as we have this feeling that A, it needs to be done, B, I can do it, like that I believe in myself, and then you've got something that makes it compelling that I want to do it, so willing and able, then that drives you to get it done. So too often, our psyche is thinking, yeah, this is a goal that the conscious mind set, but it's not really that important. There are other things that are more important, like watching this movie right now, or clicking on Netflix or something. And so it doesn't take it seriously. So the visualization anchors it and tells your unconscious, take this goal seriously. This one you must get.
I haven't done a lot of visualization. I've always thought Michael Phelps needs to do it so he can win another gold. But maybe I don't need to do it.
Right. Top athletes are always doing this.
Yeah.
It's a big part of sports psychology. And I do this with volleyball teams that I work with.
But you think that we can all use this, everyday people.
You can use it for big goals and little goals.
I know I've used it in little ways, like for memory stuff. Like I set my keys on the counter, and if I imagine them melting into the counter, I'll remember that's where I put them.
Yeah, that's...
Because I heard some visualization guy talk about that one time.
Yeah.
And so there's something about seeing my keys melt into the counter that reminds me that's where they are. Otherwise, I might set them down as I'm moving through the house. I have a huge set things down problem. If I'm on the phone, it's the worst because I walk when I talk on the phone. And so I'm just walking around the house and then I'm just setting things randomly.
Yeah.
And if I'm preoccupied, I'm not visualizing anything. And I go back and I'm like, I don't know where my coffee is. I don't know where my iPad is. I don't know where my keys are.
Yeah.
And now
it's not a case that you're forgetting. It's that you never noticed. When you put it down there, you literally weren't paying attention to where you put it.
And you're saying maybe we do that with goals.
Well, goals. I think too often it's like we're misplacing our goals because we're not really seeing that this is important.
Okay, I'm excited to turn on visualization in my life.
Okay.
What do I do?
Okay,
How do we do this?
So you can do this for let's talk a small goal and a big goal. Okay.
Okay.
So
do I need to have anything in place before I do this?
Yeah. Well, okay. One big thing is to make sure that it is a reasonable goal, right? That you are capable of doing it.
Okay. So because I hear bad things about visualization that maybe just have to do with something they shouldn't have visualized. Like if I visualize a conversation I'm going to have with somebody, but I imagine them doing things that person would never do. I'm going to talk to a difficult person at work. I'm going to see a speech therapist as well. I'm going to talk to a difficult person. This is the speech therapy
What is going
session,
on with you?
man. Visualization, difficult person at work. If I imagine them being way nicer than they ever would be, and I do a visualization that is kind of out of touch with reality, not expecting them to be themselves, it can lead me in a dark direction. So before I use this technique, I need to stop and say, is this a BS goal?
Yes. Yeah.
We have a whole video on that, so that's helpful.
Yeah. The last one we did was on knowing whether it's a BS goal. Is it ambitious enough though? Like, don't use this on something that is easy. Like, I want to be able to tie my shoes.
It can be small, but it can't be it needs to be challenging.
Like test it on this. Yeah. So, for example, I did it with my son the other day.
Getting out of bed can be challenging.
True, but I did it with my son. We had a snowfall, and so it was sweeping off the walk and driveway and whatnot. And so I said, let's see if we can do it in X amount of time. And it was quite ambitious. Like we had to motor to get that time, but by making that stretch goal that we get it done in this ambitious short time frame, it amped both he and I up, right? And we nailed it.
So you were capable of it, but it was ambitious.
Yes.
And then what's the main thing here?
So here's how you do it. Okay. This is the basic gist of it. It doesn't take long, like 30 seconds to a minute. Okay. And the idea here is to get the picture in your head. Close your eyes if you want. Okay. Now, just pick some sort of small goal for you, like a short goal. Maybe something that'll take a couple hours, or got something in your mind.
Does lying on a bed of money count as short?
Lying on a bed of money.
Okay. Let me try something smaller.
Okay.
All right.
Something that you got to do to be somewhat ambitious. You don't have to tell me, but you've got something in your head. Okay. So here's what you do. Now imagine finishing that thing, that project or whatever it is, okay? Imagine the moment it's done. Or maybe you're sitting on your deck afterwards, just looking at what you did.
And so I'm imagining I live in a place where I can sit on my deck right now.
Yes. Or, you're sitting down in a snowbank and looking at whatever you did, right? Whatever, but you're there with the job done, okay? And imagine the time that it's done at. If it's a longer project, the date. Okay? See the number. Maybe you're looking at your watch or your phone and seeing that it's done. Okay. Then also imagine the feeling that you feel at being done. How good it feels. How complete it feels. Then amp that up. Okay. So you're visualizing the place, the time, the action that you're doing. Okay, like finishing.
You mean amp it up, like make the colors more vibrant?
Yeah, make the colors more vibrant, make the emotion hotter.
So like I'm way happier.
Way happier than you actually will be when it's done. Yeah.
Sounds wise.
Right? And then once you've amped it up, then when you're just about done, make some sort of sound. The sound of, say, a starter's pistol going off, or a beep that means go. For me, I imagine my pager going off that calls me to a fire call, right?
I imagined like a big dude wearing a tiny hat saying "pew," holding his hand in the air.
Okay.
Pew.
Okay,
then
but
again, maybe I should imagine more Bruce Willis, yippee-ki-yay.
Whatever you do, just as long as it has a go. It's time to go now.
Pew.
Pew. Okay, that is all you need to do. It's just a simple visualization. 30
Okay, so I have
seconds.
to get, it starts with specifics.
Very specific.
Very specific.
Time, place, date. action, what you're doing.
So as I start to do it, I realize that if I can't imagine the specifics, that maybe that's a cue for me to go back and reset the goal better.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a purifying process a bit to this. So lying on a bed of money is probably bad because I would never do that even if I had the money.
Right. But
I could lie
maybe making a big purchase, right? Or seeing your bank account.
regret of buying a new car. No, a big purchase. So a big purchase I want to make. So so I can imagine the feeling of like seeing my bank account or something that I would do.
Yeah.
Not like lying in a bed.
Seeing your bank account in the black.
Like $100 bills by my ear that just tickles my ear.
No, not
$100, Tony.
No.
Bed of coins. Just the sound of the loonies. For Americans, those are $1 coins. Like Sacagawea in the US. So specifics, but they have to be like specifics I will actually do when I do it.
Because you actually do it.
Yes.
Right?
And the emotion that I will feel having it done. And then I try to turn those babies up.
Crank it up. Only takes 30 seconds to a minute. And then the sound of a starter's pistol or a beep or something like that. And then off you go. And you get busy. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, one difference, if you're working on a larger project, is that like a larger project is something that's going to take multiple days, perhaps.
It's more of the money kind of thing.
Or a longer, it's going to have multiple steps to it, right? You want to, in the moment that you're visualizing yourself and feeling it, you're also remembering back everything you had to do.
Like a clip show at the end of the season.
Sure.
Remembering all the stuff.
Yeah, remembering all the pieces. Yeah.
Remember when we did this?
Yeah.
Remember when I paid that check? Remember when I did that call?
Yeah. Okay. You're fantasizing about what you're going to do as if you are done doing it.
And again, all I'm thinking about is there's stuff that when I started doing that, remembering, I would immediately realize that I don't know how the heck I'm ever going to do this. Stop and actually figure that out. Or this might help me figure that out.
And yeah, it might. Or the main point is that it lodges in your psyche the point that this is a must attain goal. It's not an option.
Okay, so I can use this in like everyday ways. I can say, okay, company's gonna come over in an hour. I want to clean this house. I stop. I imagine the house is nice and clean. I get all amped about it, and then I can more quickly put stuff away.
Yeah. Okay. So now there's a great example because when company's coming over, you already do feel compelled.
I guess. Yeah. There's a bit more emotion.
Yeah. Emotionally, you're zipped up and you're being very efficient. Oh my gosh!
Look what the kids did with my wonderful house.
Right. So for example, when you feel that way, you're running up the stairs carrying a load of laundry with you, but you see something else you could grab. You grab that and maybe something else. So you're going up the stairs with 3 things instead of 1, because your unconscious is figuring out how to be as efficient as possible and driving you, right? So what you do with this visualization is give you that same kind of ambition when company isn't coming over, right? So if you had an hour
on a Saturday
to clean,
morning and I have all morning and I have this cup of coffee and when do I need this done?
Yeah.
I use visualization so I can because then I'm like one piece at a time up the stairs and then, I can see I need to go back and get that next trip.
Yeah. But instead,
this is how I go up the stairs too. This is my mosing.
Instead, though, you visualize yourself an hour from now, sitting down with a cup of coffee and turning on some nice music and relaxing because the house is clean, right? Then it gives that. I must do this to be able to enjoy my morning. I'm telling you, use this technique. We've discovered that almost guaranteed you will hit your goal by plus or minus 5%.
When you say we, do you mean everybody with a PhD behind their name or something?
No, PhD those of us that have worked on this kind of thing.
Let me wrap this up here. So if I'm courageous enough to give this a try, I can use this with small stuff.
Try it with small stuff at first.
Time is an easy way to make something more ambitious. Something I can do, but can you do it a little bit faster? Okay, so I make sure it's not a BS goal. Cleaning the house is usually not a BS goal, hopefully. So if you're going to go through the KonMari method and become a minimalist, you can use something like this because that's challenging, but it's within everybody's
capabilities. Or you've got to do a report at work, or you've got to,
So I can take it. I first run it through the BS meter.
Yep.
Then I visualize and I get specific about getting it done. Specifics.
Very specific.
And then
time, date, maybe a number. Like if you're handing in an assignment and you want to get a 90 on it, actually imagine the 90%.
Okay. And this
Then
is
that
trying to
brings
pull your
quality
brain out of its default, get whatever the unconscious knows what you really need.
Yes.
So you're trying to use the visualization to get your unconscious to do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I ramp up the emotion I will feel in getting it done.
Yeah.
If it's old, if it's a goal that takes a long time to achieve and there's a few different milestones, I imagine myself remembering those milestones.
Yes.
And if I do that, then I end it off with kind of a little monkey wearing a hat saying pew or a beeper sound, some sound
that says go.
Okay, and so that's most like mantra level stuff, like get yourself into the spirit. Because so if I do this and I'm not ready to just get at it, it's a bad time to do the visualization.
Well, no, that's
do I do this right before I do it?
Ideally, you do it right before.
Can I do this and go like,
do it?
And now I just did my visualization. Now I'm gonna go take a nap.
You actually, yes, it is possible. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do it right before the event.
You can do it. You can do it before bed, although it's going to amp you up before you fall asleep. But you can do it the day before. You can do it, a couple hours before you can get started on it. You're still, though, when you're doing that, your unconscious knows when the moment comes, you got to bring it.
Okay.
Right. So yes, no problem. Do it the day before a big test or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do I redo it or do I just do it a single time?
You can redo it, and every time you do, it makes the goal more compelling.
I guess it's just, it's not that big of a deal. It's not some weird fantasy thing where you need to spend hours. It's like a 30-second thing.
30 seconds.
And it just helps you get the stuff you want. Why am I doing this again? Because your unconscious might be pulling you into other things you want to do that day. There's another episode of Daredevil you could watch, and instead you're like, wait a minute, no, I want that feeling of getting this house clean.
Yeah. And oftentimes when I do it, I find when I actually do complete it, I don't get as hot an emotion as I visualize, but that doesn't matter because I got her done and I feel good about that.
Let me just try to visualize.